Good morning. My name is Betsy Smalley, and I'm a member of the board. My pronouns are she and her. I am a tall woman, older woman with gray hair, wearing a blue flowered dress. If this is your first time here, please stop by the greeter's stand for your visitor gift. Use the QR code on the screen to access our donation page and our order of service, and also to let us know that you're here. Now, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. After the service, volunteers will be available to share some getting to know UU information in Beach Hall. Everyone is invited to come chat with me or another board member to learn more about who we are and what we believe here at First UU. Come find us. We have a few announcements this morning from our Justice Action Ministry, or JAM team. What will you do to ensure voters can vote? Register voters, write postcards, text voters, work as monitors, poll workers, or peacekeepers on November 5th. Attend the first UU election kickoff Tuesday, August 6th at 7 p.m. in room 301 or online. Register at the JAM table in Beach Hall to let us know how you'll work for democracy. Learn what it means to be a good treble congregation and help us become one. UU Artists, today is drop-off, August 4th, for What Matters, our annual Friends and Members show, which will be on display from August 11th through October 14th. See Tom Balliol after the service and give him your art and fill out the form. If you aren't able to bring it today, please reach out to Deb Balliol to submit. One additional announcement is that COVID cases seem to be increasing, and so you may want to take additional precautions such as masking during services. Now, please rise in body or in spirit to sing Love Will Guide Us, number 131 in your gray hymnal, verses 1 and 2.
Good morning. I am Amber Scott, your Director of Religious Exploration, and my pronouns are she, they. I'm a white femme millennial with chaotic, long brown, wavy hair, and I am wearing a blue shirt that reads, "Every body is sacred." We gather on the stolen land of the Wyandotte, Miami, Seneca, Erie, Shawnee, Delaware, and Cayuga people, many of whom were forcibly removed from Ohio. We support the Land Back campaign of the Native American Indian Center of Central Ohio, and we recognize that there is more for us to do to be in solidarity and relationship with this land and those indigenous to it. I invite you now to enter into the spirit of worship. Together by Marco Bellatini. Here we are, together, in this great room. We are all under the many warm colors braiding through the wood in the ceiling. We are all above the carpet, enriched with turquoise and red. Together, we can note the green plants up front which came from lands far away. Together, we can note shuttered windows opening up onto the local day. Together, we can slowly breathe in the air which yesterday wafted over the Rockies and tomorrow will arch over Labrador. In the air, molecules and atoms and empty space. Molecules and atoms and emptiness which once may have been part of the hand which the Dutch heretic Spinoza called his own, and another atom of air may have been breathed by Buddha's wife over the crib of their son, and still a third may have been part of the wooden house in Chicago where Jane Addams sat down to read the text in the gospel, "Blessed are you, poor." The whole history of the world is in this room, not just by the imagination of the human heart, but by the revelation of the physicist and statistician. Thus, this is indeed a sacred place, but no more sacred than everything outside its doors, from the memorial garden 10 meters from this pulpit to the star Epsilon Eridani 10 light years away, a beautiful star which itself is washed in a silence much like this. It is now time for our children to meet out in the gallery and prepare to bring in the light. Everyone else, I invite you to please turn to your neighbor and introduce yourself. It is now time for our children to bring in the light. Joseph M. Cherry, Prayer for Living Intention. If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we, as a people of faith, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. Okay, go ahead. Perfect. Thank you, Sage, for your help lighting our chalice this morning. Today's story is called Uncle Willie and the Soup Kitchen, written and illustrated by Diane DeSalvo Ryan. Race you to the corner, I yell when Uncle Willie picks me up from school. While Mom's at work, Uncle Willie keeps an eye on me. While I'm at school, he works at the soup kitchen. We fed a lot of people today, says Uncle Willie. Spaghetti and meatballs. Good thing the bakery gave us extra bread. Why do you work there anyway? I ask. It's important, Uncle Willie tells me. Sometimes people need help. Up the block, I hear the can man's clangety cart piled high with empty cans he's collected. Mom says he cashes them in for money, and today he's pushing his cart right towards us. Let's go, I whisper, but Uncle Willie doesn't hear me. How's business, Frank? He hollers. One more block and I'm done for the day, the can man hollers back. Uncle Willie picks up an empty can and tosses it in. 2 points, the can man says. Then he hunches over his cart to give it one long push. I hear the rattly wheels clangety bump until they are far away. Since when do you know the can man? I ask Uncle Willie. Since Frank came to eat at the soup kitchen, he says. Why doesn't Frank eat at his house? I ask. Doesn't he have a place to live? Uncle Willie takes my hand and rocks it high and low. I never asked Frank where he lives, says Uncle Willie. At the soup kitchen, you only have to be hungry. When Mom walks me to school the next morning, I feel sad when I see a woman sleeping on a park bench. She looks lonely. Mom says there's lots of lonely people these days. That's why I'm proud of Uncle Willie. He's doing something to help. I wonder what it's like to work at a soup kitchen. I mean, Uncle Willie goes there almost every day, and I've never gone once. Why don't you ask Uncle Willie to take you on Monday, says Mom. You have the day off from school. All set? Asks Uncle Willie, bright and early Monday morning. All set, I say. I check my pocket and pull out my telescope. Uncle Willie grabs his cap and stuffs his pockets with bread. Mom kisses me goodbye and tells us both to keep out of trouble. The soup kitchen isn't too far from where I live, but it feels like a very long way. We pass my school, the supermarket, the drugstore, the bakery, and the laundromat. When we get to the meat market, I'm dragging my feet. Let's see if Mr. Anthony has anything for us today, says Uncle Willie. The door has a little bell on top that rings when we open it. Have I got something special for you? Mr. Anthony hands each of us a lumpy brown bag. Chicken for the soup, he says. Food for a feast, says Uncle Willie. The bell rings again as the door closes, and I wave goodbye through the big front window. When we turn the corner, Uncle Willie points to a small brick building. It looks old. Here we are, he says. A woman opens the big white door. Good morning, Shanta, says Uncle Willie. Good morning, says Shanta, smiling. You brought a helper today. I shake her hand and follow Uncle Willie inside. The soup kitchen is small and bright. 4 huge steaming soup pots make the whole place smell delicious. There are posters that say, "Have a nice day," and "No smoking, please." Look, I say, lunchroom tables, just like my school. But what's that high chair for? Little children come here too. Let me introduce you, says Uncle Willie. First, I meet a cat. This is Underfoot. He works the night shift down in the basement. Over there's Brother Mike. Brother Mike opens our lumpy bags. Chickens, that's great. Thanks for picking them up. A man at the double sink is washing a big silver bowl. This is George. If it wasn't for George, we'd all be in hot water. Uncle Willie puts an apron on and helps me tie one on too. Let's get to work. I watch Uncle Willie cut celery, tomatoes, potatoes, parsley, onions, and string beans and toss them in each pot. He smiles and jiggles a carrot at me. Perfect. Will you help me sort the fruit and vegetables? Shanta asks. The market gave us so much fruit that we can make a salad today. I separate the fruit and put it in the sink to wash. While Shanta slices, I mix the cut fruit in a big silver bowl with a long wooden spoon. Everything comes extra big around here. George walks over from the sink and opens a really big can of peanuts. He says he wouldn't mind if he had extra help, so I put 1 big bowl of peanuts, 1 big plate of sliced cheese, 1 big dish of butter, and 2 big baskets of bread on every table. I'm hungry, I say, when Brother Mike gives each pot just 1 more stir. Break time, he says. Help yourself to a bowl of soup. Sit down already, Uncle Willie tells me, and make yourself uncomfortable. I pour a little bit of my soup into a cup for Underfoot. Chicken and vegetable soup, my favorite. I look around at all the empty chairs. What if there's not enough soup? Uncle Willie waves his hands. It's just like magic. There's always a little bit more. He pulls something out of his pocket. This clicker will count how many people come today. That way, we can make enough food tomorrow. When I'm finished eating, I peek outside and see a long line of people at the door. I used to be out there waiting, says George, but now I'm in here helping. I stare out the window and reach for Uncle Willie. Are all those people homeless? I whisper. Is George homeless too? Uncle Willie leans closer. George rents a room nearby. Some people have no place to live. But either way, if they're here, they're hungry, and we're here to fill up their bowls. Brother Mike ladles steaming soup into the bowls and places 1 on every tray. Shanta dishes out fruit cups and puts them next to the bowls. When the first trays are ready with soup and fruit, Uncle Willie yells, "Lunchtime!" The door swings open, and the first few people rush in. The soup is nice and hot, right from the pot, hollers Uncle Willie. He says hello to just about everybody. There are so many people that I can't see inside anymore. Some guests try to shake my hand, but I stand stiffly by the door. He's got a day off from school and came to see where I work, announces Uncle Willie, keeping his hand on my shoulder. There's Frank, the can man, I whisper. Hi, Frank, says Uncle Willie, showing him the boxes of fruit and vegetables. Help yourself. We have extra today. In no time, the soup kitchen is full. Shanta fills up fruit cups 1 after the other while Brother Mike fills soup bowls. All of a sudden, it sounds like everyone is talking at once. People come up to the counter and say, "This soup is great. Can I have seconds? You gave her more chicken than you gave me. I was in line first. Our table needs more bread, please. We want more butter. More cheese, please." I watch the guests go in and out, first hungry, then full. "Come on in," calls Uncle Willie. George walks back and forth, taking dirty dishes to the sink, and I hear all the soup spoons going clink, clink. A woman shuffles by and stuffs her pocket with bananas. She looks like the woman I saw on the park bench. I hope so. I hope she comes to eat at the soup kitchen. It's not so lonely here. Before I know it, the line outside is gone, and so is all the fruit salad. A few guests stay to help us clean up. I hold the dustpan steady while Double Jim sweeps a pile for me to scoop. When Uncle Willie and I are ready to leave, we shake hands with all the helpers. Brother Mike pushes open the big front door. Come again anytime, he says. We can always use extra help. Thanks again for the soup, I holler back. Underfoot liked it too. On the way home, Uncle Willie shows me his counter. We fed 121 people today, he tells me. That's a lot of people from our community. I pull out my telescope and eyeball Uncle Willie, who looks like one big smile. The end. Every day, soup kitchens, food banks, and programs like Feed and Read Ohio work to reach those who are hungry. Even people with jobs or places to live may need help meeting their basic needs. Providing direct service also creates opportunities to connect within our larger community. But food isn't the only thing people may need. Later today, we will each have the opportunity to help put school supplies and backpacks together for local kids who need them. Next, we are going to remain seated with our hands over our hearts as we sing Building Bridges, number 1023 in your teal hymnal. This is an all-ages service, so there's no classes today, which means people of all ages are invited to stay in the service with us. We're going to sing the hymn twice through.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Our Share the Plate recipient for August is the Church on Oakland Park, where they believe in God's economy of abundance and trust that there is more than enough for all of us when we are committed to caring for one another. The Church on Oakland Park hosts a drive-through food pantry from their parking lot every Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. The Wednesday food pantry provides food to over 300 families a week. It is located in South Linden, and those who volunteer are a diverse group of people from many races and faith communities, many of whom have also received food from the pantry. Volunteers from First UU are welcome any Wednesday. You can place a donation in the basket, scan the QR code, visit our website, or text the number on the screen to give. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, Sharon. Our pastoral care listener today is Barb Fiorini. We have 3 caring cards for members of our community to share with you this morning. Sherry Osbeck continues to recover from a bad fall several weeks ago. Cards are greatly appreciated, but please do not try to call her at this time. Pat Owen's son, Jason, died suddenly on Wednesday. He was 53 years old. Our sympathies go to her and her family, who have had so much sorrow this year with the death of her daughter a few months ago. A few weeks ago, Victoria Y. sprained her right ankle, and after a week of no improvement, she went to urgent care where they discovered a fracture. She is in good spirits, but her mobility is limited for the next several weeks. Everyone is invited to sign these cards in Beach Hall after the service. Please join me in a moment of meditation. School Supplies by Vanessa Rush Southern. The school supplies section of any store draws me like a moth to a flame. I no longer need spiral-bound notebooks or number 2 pencils or a new lunch pail. I'm not sure why I'm drawn to these things, since my most recent academic endeavor is years in the past already. But I have a theory. For so many years, standing in those aisles, I could believe that my past did not determine my present. For so many years, standing in these aisles, the present was full of possibility. Entire worlds of knowledge and adolescent adventure, growth and change were possible in the year I was preparing for. Would I finally master Spanish, learn I was a whiz at physics, or fall in love with Dante, the one who wrote long ago, or the one sitting next to me in class? Perhaps I would come into my own that year like some rare flower too long in the bud. At the beginning of the school year, everything seemed possible. Now that I am older, there's the danger of losing that sense of possibility, of thinking myself an old dog whose tricks might be modified around the edges but never really significantly changed. There is the danger that you and I start to think that it is practical to live into our limitations rather than press up against them, that we confuse resignation with maturity, that we give over wild rides of the mind or spirit to the young. But it is never advisable to hang up the knapsack of adventurous, expectant living for long. Maybe this is why I like school supplies. Here is this world that says in colors and crisp white paper that all is new and all things are possible again. Postscript. A woman was seen at Staples last week. Her eyes settled on a marbled blue fountain pen. When asked why she bought it, the woman told the clerk she needed a river of ink to ride into the new year. He said he didn't quite understand what she meant, but he'd seen this behavior in this season, in these aisles, before. Next, we have a special musical performance by Sebastian Muir.
Good morning. First, Sebastian, bravissimo, bravissimo. My name is Jacques, Jacques. 21 years ago, I decided to collect backpacks full of school supplies for kids that they were food insecure. If you don't have money for food, you don't have it for backpacking school supplies. And all of us know that education is the great equalizer. If a child that's food insecure gets a good education, chances are they will have a family that is not food insecure. So it's very important. So I wanted to special thanks to Reverend Kelly, to Amber, and to Amanda. And Amanda went on a ride-along with me a few weeks ago, and you all are invited to go on a ride-along to see what I do in my outreach. And after the outreach and after seeing the family, she goes, well, what's the next big event for Feed and Read Ohio for the food insecure team? And I said, backpacks and school supplies. And she goes, well, when is that? I said, we give them out usually the first week in August. And she goes, why don't we do the blessing of the backpacks? And I said, what a fantastic idea. In 21 years, I'd never had that idea. That's why we have Amanda. So anyway, between Reverend Kelly and Amber and Amanda, it was put together, and I have 50 of these. They're empty. They're in Fellowship Hall with the supplies, and I want you to all come over there and turn them into 50 of these, which are heavy, because they're full of supplies. So last week, we gave out 55 backpacks, and I have them in the back of my van, and I have the kids come over and pick them out. And little 6-year-old Arturo comes over and picks out his backpack, first one he'd ever had. And he looks at it, and he's so proud of it, and he sees it's brand new. Wait a minute, there's something in this. It's heavy. He unzips it, and when he unzipped it, that little boy went off. He started screaming and jumping up and down. He could not believe the elation. It was muy feliz. So anyway, these kids need them. They're glad to get them. And with the help of the members of this church and other volunteers, like I said, 21 years ago, we did 28 backpacks, and I thought that was a lot. Of course, compared to 0, 28 is a lot. Fast forward, we've done over 2,300 backpacks. 2,300 backpacks have been distributed to the community because of the volunteers and the members of this church. So we're hopefully going to continue this and have this to be an annual event. So if you like what we're doing, let a few people know, some there and some over there. Anyway, you're all welcome to come to Fellowship Hall afterwards. We've got all the supplies lined up on the table. You can go down either side. We've got 50 backpacks. And one of my volunteers from the Hilltop that works over there on Sullivan and Hague area, in a very poor area, she's coming by this afternoon and picking up 20 backpacks from our church. And then another friend of mine that I work with that works on the east side, she's going to take 5 backpacks to the children of women that are recovering from drug addiction. And the rest of them we give out to other people that are food insecure. Couldn't do it without you, couldn't do it without you, couldn't do it without you, and couldn't do it without Reverend Kelly. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate it.
Please rise as you are willing and able to sing Answering the Call of Love, number 1014 in your teal hymnal. At the request of the composer, Jason Shelton, the lyrics have been changed to be less ableist. We'll be singing verse 1 and 3.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our God. We are answered.
As Jacques mentioned, after the service today, we will be working together to fill 50 backpacks with school supplies, which will then be passed out to local kids who need them. We now have the opportunity to further extend our love and care to those children and teens by writing notes of support and encouragement, or even drawing a picture to be included in their backpacks. There are pieces of paper and markers available on the table by the doors. If you're attending online, please type your note into the chat, and someone on site here will write it down on a piece of paper to be included. Some examples of short messages are things like, "Have a great school year," or "You are loved." Or you could draw something happy and loving instead of writing a note, like a heart, a rainbow, or a smile. Hold on to your finished notes and then take them to Beach Hall after the service. Let's get started. You're welcome to continue working on writing and drawing. But as we return to our service, please remain seated and join me in singing From You I Receive, number 402 in your gray hymnal. We will sing it together twice through.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
As Jacques mentioned, school can be a gateway to more opportunities for our young people, but there are many barriers that prevent children and teens from having the access they need to succeed. Focusing on learning can be extra difficult if a child is hungry, in danger, or doesn't have what they need, including necessary supplies to get their work done at school or at home. While we recognize the failures of the current school funding model, we cannot afford to wait for systemic solutions before taking action. Young people who are school age need our help now. Students, families, schools, and teachers all benefit when our larger community takes action and reaches out to connect. As we saw earlier in our story about the soup kitchen, direct service is also an opportunity to build connections and foster a sense of community that benefits all involved. It has been my distinct honor and pleasure to work with Jacques Angelino to present this service and to support the 21st annual Feed and Read Backpack Drive as a justice project within our congregation. I hope that everyone will come participate after the service and that you'll all spend more time volunteering with Jacques in the year to come. Thank you for being a part of this. Please rise in body or spirit to sing When the Spirit Says Do, number 1024 in your teal hymnal. We will only sing the first verse.
You got to sing when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says do.
Excellent. You may be seated. In the Soup by Robert Walsh. My dictionary says the word minister is etymologically related to the word minestrone. I am not making this up. They are both derived from a Latin root that means to serve. The image of ministry as minestrone is particularly apt for the ministry church people do all together that makes us a ministering congregation. Each bean, each vegetable, each unit of macaroni or pinch of spice gives not only its substance to the soup, but also its spirit, its texture and color, its flavor and aroma. Each person offers a unique set of gifts, and if we do our job of organizing well, each gift will be creatively matched with a need so that the whole becomes a warm, nourishing, life-giving religious community. All who serve the church and the principles and values we hold dear are ministers. If you are doing part of that work, you are doing ministry, no matter how unlikely it may seem. You are in the soup, the minestrone of ministry. Now, everyone is invited to come take action by joining us in Beach Hall to fill all 50 backpacks with school supplies. Bring your notes and drawings with you so that we can include one in each backpack. But first, let us extinguish our chalice together with the words from our vision statement. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love.